Welcome to General Body Meeting number 16. This is election nominations. Yeah. So before we get into the nominations, I'm going to have to do a lot of talking about how elections work, what all the positions are, that kind of stuff. ACM, we're meeting 2 weeks from now to vote on exec. There will be free awesome food. It will not be pizza. ACMW are having elections coming up, and IEEE are also having elections coming up. So if you're interested in voting in that, be sure to keep an eye on your email. There is a spring social event happening. The details are coming soon. When I figure out the details, I'll let you guys know. Likely it'll be April 27th or the 28th that weekend. There's an RSVP coming. It's free for all students. You just need to RSVP. Office hours 1:30 to 2:30, Thursdays 2 to 3, Monday and Thursday respectively. So if you need help on homework or exams or whatever, especially in this crunch for exams, be sure to hit that up. You can always find the calendar on our website. We have tons of resources. The archive is a little bit out of date. I'll work on that after the meeting, but you can check out all the slides and videos and everything on our GitHub. Slack, I think you all know by this point that Slack is the place to be. acmcincy.slack.com/sign up. There's always something happening in there. Code of conduct, make sure you're aware of it. You can read it at acmuc.org/conduct. All right, now elections. So the actual elections will happen about 2 weeks from now on the 24th. But today we'll just take nominations for elections. We have 5 elected positions: Prez, Vice Prez, Secretary, Treasurer, Webmaster, and then 3 appointed positions that are appointed by those 5 people. That's the Membership Chair, Conferences and Education, and Outreach. So I'll walk through the nomination process and what these roles are, and then we can take nominations. So as I said, we have 5 elected positions. There's no experience necessary to run. To vote, you must have attended at least 2 meetings throughout the year. And if you have questions, just reach out to me or another exec that you're running for that position. So the requirements, again, you have to have at least attended 2 meetings, be in good standing with the university. GPA must be at least 2.3. And if you're the chair or the vice chair, you may not have that position for more than 2 consecutive years. So the election proceedings, it is a trickle-down election. This means that if you run for vice chair and someone else wins that position, you're automatically put into the running for secretary if you choose to do that. And then also treasurer and also webmaster. So it's trickle down. Same thing for the other positions. So that's pretty cool. The chair, that's me. So I lead the meetings and activities, coordinate with Dr. Franco, who is the club advisor, represent our chapter externally in other committees, organizations, the community, like the EECS department, our department, ESOC, which is a collection of student leaders in engineering, that kind of stuff. And then I also follow the procedures outlined in the bylaws and by ACM Nationals, which I totally do. Vice chair is Kristian. Raise your hand. Yes, he presides at all meetings that I am absent at and assists in all duties assigned by chair. He is very much responsible for a lot that happens at Revolution UC, that is for sure. Secretary is currently Maddie. Raise your hand. She keeps track of meeting minutes, which we don't really use at all. She maintains the records of the chapter, does attendance, helps out with the ACM National Report, which is coming up soon, and does any other duties assigned by chair. Also, she's responsible for spamming you on social media and by email, so you can thank her for that. Also, she is, has a large, thing to do in Revolution UC. Large responsibility in Revolution UC. Actually, all of these positions have a large responsibility in Revolution UC. Alex, he pays all the bills and makes it so I don't have to worry about the money, maintains the financial records, does a report with ACM Nationals at the end of the year. Any other things I want him to do, he does. Again, he helps out largely with Revolution UC. He was actually the finance chair at Revolution UC too. Webmaster is Isaiah. Where is Isaiah? There he is. He maintains the website, listserv, social media, he helps with that too. Anything with the calendar and the website, he's going like this, but yes, he does. Any other things I want him to do, he does. He plays a large responsibility in Revolution UC too. So I think you see some patterns there. Any questions about any of the 5 positions? Prez? vice pres, secretary, treasurer, or webmaster before we continue? Yes?
Who do we blame if we don't have meetings for a month?
Who do we blame if we don't have meetings for a month? Probably me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can blame me.
All right.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. Nomination rules, you can nominate yourself or someone else. If you are nominating someone else, they have to accept. Also, if you're nominating yourself, I assume you accept. If you're nominating someone else, they have to accept. If they're not in the room, that's okay. You can nominate someone who's not in the room today. I'll follow up with them to see if they accept or not. And you can withdraw your nomination at any point leading up to 6 o'clock on that elections meeting. And if you want to nominate after this meeting, that's totally cool too. You just message me or email me saying you want to nominate someone or yourself. So basically nominations are open now until the next meeting. To the Google Doc. All right, let's hit up this Google Doc. And I want to start typing nominations right away. Nominations for president, open. Corey, do you accept? Where are you?
No.
No.
Maddie.
Maddie, do you accept? Okay.
Alex.
Alex, do you accept?
I do accept.
Christian.
I can't run.
Well, I mean, technically you could.
I could. I'm not running.
He's not running.
There's no rule against me. I'm keeping the precedent.
Yes.
JT.
JT, yes. I'll have to ask him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kurt Lewis.
Kurt Lewis.
Dictator for life.
Kurt from California. Where is Kurt, by the way?
He's in class.
All right. Going once. Going twice. All right. Vice chair. Kristian.
No.
No. Will, do you accept? Okay. Isaiah, do you accept?
No thanks.
Okay.
Corey.
You can do it, Corey.
Yeah, I don't because my car class.
Okay. Kunal, what's your last name? K.
To peer pressure.
Okay. Brendan,
Sure.
yes?
I'm commenting.
All right, going once, twice. Secretary. Nominations for secretary open. You can still nominate someone who has already been nominated. It's still equal.
Is it not?
It is by default, yes, but it doesn't. Shouldn't stop you from saying someone's name anyway. Isaiah, do you accept? Okay.
Piyush.
What's your last name? Okay, I'll put S. Do you accept? Okay.
Liam? No. Yeah, Liam.
What's his last name? S.
S.
Okay, he's not here.
Brandon.
Brandon? Brandon, do you accept?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Kunal, do you accept? No?
Keep trying.
So you accepted for vice chair, but you did not accept. Sorry.
You will not be secretary. Far too dignified.
Any other nominations for secretary? You can nominate yourself too. Okay. I will have to ask him. Okay. Any of the Corey? Any of the freshmen? Who? Monteith? Okay. What's his last name?
K.
Okay. I'll have to ask him. All right. Treasurer. Nominations for treasurer are open.
Kunal.
Kunal.
Yeah.
Do you accept Kunal?
Do it.
No.
Brendan.
Brendan.
I'll accept. Nice.
Corey.
Come on, dude. Do we trust Corey tonight?
Corey, do you accept? No.
Can I run for fun?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any more for treasurer? Freshman?
I don't trust myself
It's a good way to learn.
Yeah.
and I'll spend it.
Yeah.
Just imagine you'll be in charge of the entire hackathon budget. It'll be fun. All right.
Oh, JT.
Oh yeah, JT, that's a good one. I'll have to ask him.
I'm not accommodating anybody. It's already out there. They'll true that one. That's true.
Alex,
Okay,
you would be treasurer again.
Kristian.
No. Double negative is positive.
Brandon.
They were all
I don't know. I mean, it's trickle down, so
So yes.
I guess, yeah.
Yes.
No, I'm not peer pressuring you. It's just okay.
Let me back from this.
I'm gonna nominate Liam again.
Yeah, we'll keep talking.
Okay. Webmaster, the last one. Isaiah? No? Okay.
I already went twice, so that's legal. Oh, that's true.
That's not how it works now.
Will.
Will.
Oh, sorry. Will, do you accept?
Yeah.
Okay.
So presumptive. Go for it.
Dev?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your last name? First initial? A. Okay. Do you accept?
Yeah.
Okay. Kunal?
No. Yes.
Any last nominations for Webmaster?
Sure, as well.
Yeah, okay. All right. That's not how you spell your name. Right? That's how you spell your name, right? Piyush?
Yeah.
All right. What's your first initial?
First initial last name. Yes.
Oh, okay. Do you accept?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Are there any other nominations for any position? Last minute.
Are there any other positions people want to add? You know, or growing. You know.
Are there any positions we want to add?
Yeah.
I never thought about it.
Well, we
Say
already
it.
did, I think. Yeah, this would be a committee position. Those were cat. Yeah.
You mean like the membership chair,
Yeah.
outreach chair, that kind of thing?
Those were, that
What are you saying? You want to vote on them?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
With that question? Okay. Well, I was just gonna say, I would think if we want to add positions, that would be, we just add them as a committee chair, and then if it gets to the point where they have enough responsibility that we feel they should be elected, then we can add that at that point. Yeah, that would be a constitutional change.
Yeah, it would.
The constitutional
Can we add chancellor?
We cannot add chancellor.
It's tough grade.
Ever since we changed the constitution, the constitution is now there.
It is, yes.
That's true. Oh wait, yeah. We fixed it to
Okay, any last nominations? All right, if there's any other nominations you want to make, just let me know in the next 2 weeks, and I'll be happy to add them and then ask them. And I'll be sure to follow up with those people soon. Cool. So nominations are over. Yeah. So now it's on to 5-minute lightning talks. I am going to enjoy this a lot. Does anybody, wait, who's giving a lightning talk? Okay, cool. Does anyone want to be the master sign holder to tell people to stop? No, you're doing the lightning talks. You're in the, what?
I'll time myself.
The time is, that's not really how it works. Alright, fine. Alright, get pizza right now if you want any. We'll start the lightning talks in a hot second. Alright, Kristian, you're going up first. Yeah. We'll get started. So the 5 minutes is like sort of strict, I guess. So when it gets to 4 minutes, Corey's going to hold up a sign that says 1 minute remaining. When we get to 5 minutes, Corey's going to hold up a sign that says stop. At that point, you better be really, really good at run-on sentences. Because that is your last sentence.
Take a pause. You're done.
Maybe one of our professors. Alright. I think you're.
Which one is it?
Right?
Oh, yeah, it's this one?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Don't use that word.
Don't
Also,
use this one.
you can use that if you want, just for your own good.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, sound's on. Let's turn that off.
I don't think it'll actually go. But
No, it'll go. It'll go. We got the sound on. I should actually turn the sound off. There we go. All right, cool. So my talk is titled, Oh No, and you'll see why it's titled that in a moment. We'll just go with that. So this is heavily inspired by Gary Bernhardt's talk through Destroy All Software. It's a great site where you can see a lot of cool screencasts, and his is also under 5 minutes. So let's start by talking about C. Let's, what do we think this is going to print? Any ideas?
Trace.
Okay, prints 3, great. All right, let's declare an array, and we're going to get its 6th element, which is index through 5, 0 indexing. That's going to give you 0. But what about this? What does this give you? Does this even compile? It does, it's 0. Array indexing is commutative in C as well as most other languages based on it, because all this is syntactic sugar that dereferences a pointer and adds something, and addition is commutative as we saw, so array indexing is. So, so there you go. That's the kind of theme of things you're going to be seeing, and it only gets weirder from here. All right, PHP. Woo! We love PHP. These strings equal? No, they're not equal. How about these strings? They are equal. How about these strings? They're also equal. PHP will do anything it can to treat anything you give it as a number. It doesn't care that you put quotes around those numbers. 01E4 is a number. It is 10,000. It doesn't care that you let it with a 0. It doesn't care at all. It wants numbers. PHP loves numbers. So, I mean, my God, it only gets worse. Now it's Java time. I love this one especially. All right, we're going to declare 2 integers. Cool. And as you expect, A is less than or equal to B. A is greater than or equal to B. Makes sense. A is equal to B is false. That's expected. These are objects. They don't actually point to the same value, even though they have the same value. You're actually declaring the objects here, therefore it's false. How about these ones? Okay. Less than or equal to, true. Greater than or equal to, true. Oh, look, these are true. So why when you compare these, are these true, and yet the other one isn't? So So Java caches all integers between -128 and 128. Therefore, if you compare two integers that are between -128 and 128, they have the same value, that's true. Whereas it's not true for numbers outside those bounds, which is a reason why pretty much every IDE, as well as I think a lot of Java compilers, will say, this is bad, you should not be doing this. You've made a serious mistake. And this is real, like this is how Java does it. It will literally cache that number because it leads to better performance at runtime. All right, so now we're gonna do probably my favorite one in here. So we're gonna make a nice little try block. Okay, so that's gonna return true, awesome. Now we have a finally block, and we're going to return false inside of that finally block. Those among you using exceptions should immediately feel very unsure because you've probably thought, wait, can I even return anything inside a finally block? Well, in JavaScript, you get a syntax error for a return statement. What do we think we get in Java? You get a syntax error?
Return false.
In Java, we return false. And this is horrifying. Like, this is the worst possible thing. It should be illegal. It's illegal in a lot of languages, but both Java and C# say it's okay, which is absurd. Now, you can get this to happen in JavaScript, by the way. So we're going to say, we're going to declare value, make another block. We're going to return x. We're going to say x is equal to 3. And in JavaScript, that's 2. Because actually it's copied to the stack and we don't care that we made that modification. So that's bad. Oh no. And then finally, oh no, not quite yet. So Python, oh Python. I say 2.x because this is syntax error in 3.x, but you can say true equals false. Okay, now we're gonna say what true is. What's true? True is false. Is 1 equal to 1? Nah, it's still true. It should be double equals. But 1 is still true. But 1 equal to 1 is still true, even though true is now false. So that's great. Python's awesome. And then Ruby. Ruby lets you do things in places you should not be allowed to do things. So we're going to make a subclass. And this subclass is a subclass of any of these classes randomly picked. It picks one of them, and that's the subclass of it. All right. Okay, okay, so you can have a random subclass, and at runtime, this could be any of them, and you have no idea which it is, because Ruby allows you to do that. And then finally, some great things in JavaScript. 1 multiplied by x, that's not a number, of course. X multiplied by 1, that's not a number, of course. X plus 1, x1. 10 dot toString, that's an error. 10 dot toString, nah, that's 10. What happens if you add 2 objects? Nah, it's not a number. What happens if you add 2 arrays? It should be what, like an array? Not empty string. What happens if you add an array and an object? Nah, it's an array of an object. What happens if you add an object and an array? Addition's commutative, right? Nah, it's 0. And then finally, does anyone know what this evaluates to? Yeah, it's 1. And that's it. And
Oh, that's me.
cool.
Sweet. All right, Maddie, you're on deck.
Okay, can you add a slide? Can you scroll down pictures there? No, you passed it. Hold on, go up slower. You're good.
Okay. All right. Corey, are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So Netlify is a really awesome platform as a service. It's an all-in-one solution for building and deploying modern web projects, and I recently discovered it, and I love it. It's like AWS abstracted like a ton, and that makes life easier for all developers. So I'm just going to give you a quick intro to how to get started with Netlify. So Netlify preaches static sites. They could be built from anywhere, and just really simple APIs. So here's my website. I just have a simple HTML file. You know, I'm pulling in some CSS over here. I actually wrote some text here, so if you want to read it, you can. So I also have a serverless function. So Netlify works with serverless functions, and it's supported by AWS on its back end, AWS Lambda to be exact. And another cool thing about Netlify is that everything is served on edge over a CDN. So that's pretty sweet. Netlify has this super cool build tool or command line tool called netlify-CLI, and you just install it with Node and get up and running. So if I hit Netlify right now, there's my command line tool. This is totally optional. You don't actually need it to like push stuff up to Netlify or anything, but it makes it really easy to do something called Netlify Dev, which is actually in beta. It's a development experience that replicates the Netlify platform, the platform as a service, on your own machine. So in this file, I just have some, some text, some HTML, and then I have this button here that's going to /.netlify/function/hello world. So this is actually calling a serverless function that I have defined up here in hello world/hello world.js. So all it does is this is the handler. It does a try catch. It tries to async await the hello world function. It resolves just with some text. And then we return it with a status code 200. So imagine this is kind of like your basis for like building out your own APIs. Very straightforward. So now I hit Netlify Dev. I can open this up on localhost. So let's try to do that. Cool, there it is. So it's running on my machine. So if I just like make a change here, like in the text right here, for example, if I delete that, refresh, it's gone. So it updates in real time. So this development environment is really, really cool. So there's my serverless function that I talked about earlier. So I'm just going to click it. Again, this is just like a hello world example. So it says hello world. So it hit my serverless function and returned back. So you could see how this is really easy to get started building your own APIs. And if I just change up this in my development environment, I can refresh, and I should get the extra exclamation marks. So that's how easy it is to get started with Netlify. So next, I want to deploy this to the world because it's just running on localhost. And to do that, I can do Netlify deploy. And this will walk me through some deployment steps. So I want to create and configure a brand new website. I want to call it Netlify demo ACM UC on my team, and it's actually publishing it straight to Netlify. There, it already deployed. So I'm going to check it out using this live draft URL. And there it is. So there's my site up on the web. That was super easy. There's my function. It's working as expected, and it's out there on the interwebs. So you're saying this is a disgusting URL. Why is this like that? No one's ever going to be able to type this in. Yeah, that's because I didn't use the --prod argument here as it's telling me. So I should do Netlify deploy --prod. So let's run that and see what happens. So I'm deploying to production. So it's uploading all my stuff to the CDN, and there it's done. So it gave me. So there it is. I am my own URL. So that is how easy it is to get started with Netlify. And then if you wanted to, you could add a custom domain or something. So I've done that. I have my own website on Netlify, and it's really easy. They have a super easy to use dashboard to get your own custom domain, DNS, whatever it is you want. Plus, Netlify has some other options, features that I didn't actually mention here. So they have Netlify Edge, which is the CDN. Netlify Functions, which I just made a serverless function. Netlify Identity, so it manages the whole auth, login, all that stuff for you. So it's like totally abstracting that stuff, which I love. Netlify Forms and Large Media. So yeah, it's just designed to be super easy to use, integrate into your workflows. It's all about simplifying the dev experience so it's quick and painless for you. And that's my time.
That was exactly 5 minutes.
All right, next up we have Maddie.
Hello, so we are going to talk about UX and UI. What are they? So we're going to start off by debunking the biggest myth there is about UX and UI. Surprise! UX and UI are not the same thing. This is a super common misconception between developers because the design world is just completely abstract to us and we have no idea what they do. They just make it look pretty. So let's break that trend of developers not knowing their designer counterparts, and let's learn something about what they actually do. So what are they? So user experience is the overall experience of a person using a product, such as a website, computer application, especially in terms of how pleasing it is to use. And user interface design is the design of user interface for machines, blah, 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 blah. And it focuses on maximizing usability and the aesthetic of the product. So let's compare these two and see what the difference actually is, because we know that they're not the same now. Okay, so UX and UI. So the first one is UX helps solve the user's problems by their interaction with the product, while UI helps solve users' problems using design. UX is basically how a product works, and UI is how it looks. And UX incorporates the user's wants and needs, while UI uses color theory and design elements to use the product. So they both work at the same product, and they both work together, so they kind of need each other to succeed, which is why they get confused a lot. So here's the relation of user experience to user interaction. User interaction is a part of user experience design, but it is not the only part. There are tons more, like interaction design, user research, information architecture, content strategy. There's this whole big world of UX design that I didn't know existed, but now I do. And visual design plays a huge role in user experience design, hence the reason why we shouldn't compare UI to UX. UI is a part of UX. So they're not the same thing, but they need each other to succeed, which is why they get confused. And now that we know their relation to each other, let's look at some examples. Okay, so this is actually a great example of UX and UI. So under UI is a ketchup bottle, obviously. It's designed beautifully. It has really nice lines, probably fits all the design requirements needed. And then on the other side, under UX, completely different experience. Same product, different experience. So you, as a user, you probably want the one under UX because, that's what you're going to use it for. You don't want to flip over the ketchup bottle and hit it, and then it's glass and hurts your hands. And UX is obviously thinking more about the customer wants. So our next one is more of a practical example. So this UI is done with mock-ups and stuff, so visually, and then UX does wireframing, which maps out the different functionalities that the app may have before they actually design it. And this is what happens in work environments. You'll have a UX designer who plans what it should do, and then you have a UI designer who will plan out what it should look like based on the mock-ups of what it should do. And then there's this one. So this looks great, but in reality, the customer wants this. So we can't actually give that to them, but we can compromise by making double stuff and mega stuff. And then there are other times where it just doesn't work. So thank you. I hope this was helpful, and make sure to correct your fellow developers when they say UX, UI. No, it is either UX or it is UI. They are completely different, but they are use each other and help each other out. But yeah, that's it. Thank you.
All right, hello everyone. Let's just get set up here. Yeah, do we have?
Switch back.
Yeah.
To.
Do we?
Do you want to go out of the mirror, or do you want to go back into mirroring mode?
I would like to. Yeah, we can just put it on this machine.
Okay, cool.
I think.
Yes, there you go.
Perfect. All right, everyone. Let's see. Is this?
You're in Bash.
I'm in Bash. Okay. Cool.
No one doesn't have anything in this terminal.
I know, right? Okay, cool. So we're in Bash. All right. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Vim. So what is Vim, for those of you who don't know? Vim is a text editor. Now, it's a very popular text editor, but it has a big catch. It's very hard to use or hard to learn. So the people who like Vim really like it because it's super quick and you can do a lot of cool things. The people who don't like Vim usually are the people who can't figure out how to close Vim when they get into it. So let's jump right in here. So Vim runs just like any other command. We can say Vim, test here, and we'll open up a text file. If there's not a text file already there, it'll create a new one. And you may at this point try to type things and be like, wait, why is it not working? Well, the reason it's not working is because you're in command mode. And so Vim does some very cool commands, but that's not typing. So how do we get into typing mode? Well, let's press I. And you'll see at the bottom of our screen we have insert. So now we can type. Hello. Now, say we've done some cool things here, and we want to save what we're doing, right? Well, how do we save? How do we exit? You can't press escape. You can't, type exit. What do you do? Well, you go back into command mode, which you can do by pressing escape, right? And so when you press escape, you'll see the insert has left, and now we're in command mode. We can type a command starting with colon, right? And we can type Q. Now, Vim will say no write since last change, which is nice because it prevents you from accidentally losing any progress. But it means that if we want to lose all of our changes here, then we have to press an exclamation mark right after our Q here. Now, if we do want to save, we can just do WQ, right? And that will both save and quit because W is for save. Intuitive, right? So now we've saved our file, and we want to open it up again. We'll just go ahead and come back. And we've known a little bit here about what's going on in Vim. So how do we copy and paste? Because that's an important thing that you don't miss until it's gone. Well, first thing, we're in command mode now. Let's go into selection mode. And selection mode is very, very cool. So we can do that by pressing V, and that's visual selection, right? And so that, of course, works just like any other selection, right? We navigate with our arrow keys and can select any amount of text. But say there's other selection modes that Vim has too, which are very useful, right? So if we wanted to add some other lines of text here, right? And then we want to select an entire line all at once. Well, Shift V lets us select an entire line and go up and down. Useful, right? Well, here's another even cooler thing. Say I have an example where I say x equals 1, y equals 2, right? And I want to select 1 and 2 and get rid of them, right? I can do that in Vim. So we just say Control, or I guess I'm on a Mac, so this will be probably Command V or not. Okay. So let's try Control V. No. Okay. Well, Mac is messing me up here, but if you're on Linux, which is what I usually use Vim on, then Control V will go ahead and let you select visual block mode. So I can select basically a square on my screen and it will select just that text. So I could, with the up and down arrows, select 1 and 2 and change them. Option?
You were in insert mode, that's why. Enter 2, then press escape.
Enter what? Oh. Actually, good catch. See, I missed that. Okay, so we're in command mode now, and we press Command V, and it still inserts. Okay. Let's see. If we do escape U for undo. Control V. There we go. Victory. All right. So we can select like that. Now, what time am I at? 1 minute? All right, cool. So if we want to copy and paste in Vim, it's nice and easy. We just select what we want, right? We can hit Y to yank, right? That makes sense. And then we can go ahead and hit P to paste. So finally we have a command that makes sense. All right, and X, of course, is cut, which also makes sense. All right, so there's some other cool things we can do. What about searching? Searching is easy. Just go into command mode, type /, and then we'll search 1, and it'll take us to one on our page. Now, what if we want to do find and replace? Well, that's also easy. We can just do %s, right, intuitively, and go ahead and search 1, right, a slash, and then change all the 1s to 2. Are we wrapped up?
Yeah, keep going.
All right, and then G. And now we've changed all the 1s to 2. So that's how you do that. If you do a C onto the end of that G, it also will ask you whether or not you want to replace each instance. So that's an intro to Vim and some of the cool things you can do. I hope you enjoyed. Yeah.
No, it's Isaiah's turn.
These two.
Okay, I'm gonna briefly talk about TypeScript. I'm not an expert or anything. I just like TypeScript, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. Hopefully this is all right. I get it all from the TypeScript website. What is TypeScript? TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript, so that just basically means all JavaScript is valid TypeScript, but it adds optional static typing to JavaScript. It can be, what are you doing over there, Corey? It can be used both client-side and server-side, which is nice, and it does just transcompile down to JavaScript. It also allows you to use newer JavaScript features, like features from ES6, like classes, in browsers that don't support it, which is nice. So why would you use TypeScript? My main reason is the tooling. So it does allows you to do like code completion, type hints, and type definitions. And this really makes my code feel more nice to navigate and know what's going on, being able to just refactor code easily, just like that. You can also just, if an error is going to happen before you run your code for basic things. It also makes it easier to use larger frameworks. For example, Angular, the new Angular, not AngularJS, uses TypeScript. And I found when I was working with Angular, it was a lot easier to learn what I was doing because I knew what is this that's actually being returned, and being able to just press a dot and see all the functions that are able to do that, or all the variables. So it makes it a lot easier to explore unfamiliar code bases. So even if you are using a library a JavaScript library that isn't in TypeScript or didn't have a definitions file attached to it, you can still add type definitions to it. So you can use code completion and stuff like that and catch errors in those libraries. There's actually a GitHub repo and a website called Definitely Typed where people contribute type definition files for popular libraries. And even if the library isn't there, you can just create one yourself. It's pretty easy. So just some TypeScript examples. First one is type annotations, the main reason people use TypeScript. So you can just see here, and the person parameter, greeter function, is just going to be a string. Big thing to look out for is don't use capital string or capital number or something like that, because that makes things blow up. I'm pretty sure it's because that's JavaScript's primitive type. It's not good. You can see there that user actually doesn't even have string defined. You can pick and choose, which kind of can make it messy if you're not too careful about it. But it's also nice, especially me, when you don't know what actual typing is going to be, and so you can do that. TypeScript, I think, actually infers that that's going to be a string. So if you were to put let user equal and then an array of numbers or something like that, it would run an error if you try to compile it. Interfaces allow you to pretty much type an object. So you can see that the person is now replaced by an object containing first name, last name that both have strings. And yeah, so that you'll be able to type check that. And then finally, I'm just going to classes. This is now an ES6 feature. I think it was first in TypeScript before it was actually standardized. But now you can use this in pretty much any browser. And classes are very nice. Instead of using function prototypes or something like that, like in old JavaScript. Cool. So I used TypeScript writing the Revolution UC backend this year. I actually used a very nice library called Nest.js. I highly suggest you look at it. It has a lot of great documentation. And one of the coolest features I thought was that, and it really integrated well with TypeScript, was that it automatically generated API documentation for you. So like here you can see that there's an endpoint register with the body registrant and a data type registrant DTO. And then on the right you can see the DTO there. So when the API documentation was generated, it automatically took all this information and generated documentation for it. Yeah, so you can see here on the left side, this is like the controller. On the right side, that's the DTO. Oh, there's a charger. You can also see that there's these decorators here. That's a feature of TypeScript. Oh, well. Got it. All right, anyways, that's TypeScript. Have fun, guys.
You can't tap yourself.
Oh, man. Alright. Who's ready to get big? It's time for a change of pace. That was all really technical. So we're going to discuss something more primitive. We're going to talk about lifting heavy objects and putting them back down. So, right, we're all computer scientists or engineers or whatever. We spend a lot of time sitting at a desk. That has a whole host of health issues that comes with it, you know, bad posture and wrist problems and a foggy brain. This says, I'm not really sure what that means, but you get the idea. So it's up to us to combat the effects of desk life. And I found a great program to do so. It's called Strong Lifts 5x5, the ultimate strength and muscle building training program. It's all about compound lifts, right? It stresses natural human motion, squatting, deadlifting, pull-ups, overhead presses. You know, using your muscles together as they're meant to be used, not in isolation, right? So you might think, Corey, how can I'm already at data structures and CS1 and Netlify, and how can I fit? How can I can't even close Vim. How can I fit? How can I fit a workout program into my daily schedule? Well, the great thing about Strong Lifts 5x5 is it's only 3 days a week. So I go Monday, Wednesday, Friday at the times you see here. That's when ACM Strong will be at the rec center going through this program. You should join us for that. It's a great chance to build muscle. And so I know you. I gotta be honest. There's a lot of ladies in the crowd here. You might be thinking, I don't want to get all muscly and bulky and whatnot. But Strong Lifts does not do that. It's all about you get lean and strong and not bulky and awkward. So you should join us at these times at this place. You may recognize it. We also have a new Slack channel called so feel free to join this channel, ACM Strong. Every week we'll be at the rec center. We also have a handshake, or it's like this. So if you've never worked out before, don't worry. I mean, I taught myself when I was a senior in high school, and so I've done this program for a while now, and we're here to help you and work together. That's all for ACM Strong.
Thank you, Corey.
We'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah, apparently I might be there if I wake up in time.
There should be at least 5 people tomorrow. So
Yeah, actually talk to Corey if you actually want to go, because he'll show you the ropes and teach you how to get started. So happening around EACS, we're pretty much done here. So elections in 2 weeks. ACMW are having elections in their next meeting, so look out for that email. IEEE are also having their elections in their next upcoming meeting, so be sure to look out on the listservs for that information. With that, that is it. Grab some more pizza, please, and take that home. We have cookies. Yeah, take it all. Thank you.